if you have heard the term Freemason. Maybe you have seen it in a movie or heard conspiracy theories about this secret society. This so-called secret society is not so much a secret. I personally did not know much about this subject until recently when I was going through my great-grandma's book collection and discovered an old Masonic family Bible that, it turns out, belonged to my great-grandfather. Today, I'm going to explain to you all how one of the most powerful groups in history was formed, some of their beliefs and influences on the world. Throughout history, Freemasons have had significant influences on world wars, religion, and politics. They are the spiritual descendants of a group of religious people who have practiced and met in secrecy for centuries. Their rituals, occult symbols, and complex hierarchy is a mystery to many of us in the outside world. The history of Freemasonry began thousands of years ago. Solomon, the king of Israel, was fascinated by the constellation known as the Shekinah. He knew that this constellation was more than just a light in the sky. He and his people believed that it was the energy force that guided the world. Butler and Knight, authors of Solomon's Power Brokers, explain that the ancient astronomers identified it as a star formation where Mercury lines up behind Venus, creating an extremely bright light that lasts for about 20 minutes or so. This alignment only happens every 440 years. Coincidentally, when this phenomenon occurs, there is a significant event. An example is the birth of Jesus Christ over 2,000 years ago. Another significant part of the history of Freemasons is the design and origin of the Star of David, which is the symbol of Judaism. The design originated from the study of sunrises and sunsets during the summer and winter solstices in ancient Jerusalem. King Solomon and his architect placed two poles in the ground and marked the shadows that they cast. They ended up creating a six-pointed star, which has now been the symbol of Judaism and Freemasonry since its creation. After identifying the light of the Shekinah and developing the Star of David, Solomon wanted to build an extravagant temple and harness its beautiful light. The original Grand Masons were King Solomon, his architect Hiram, and King Hiram of Tyre. These 3 men and 15 priests managed the construction of the Temple of Solomon over 2,500 years ago. The term Mason originated with the master brick craftsmen that built the infamous temple. Now that you know a brief history of the Masons, I will explain some of their beliefs about God, Jerusalem, and the power of the Shekinah. Rotondi, the author of the 5 secret societies that have remained shrouded in mystery, explains that Freemasonry is not really a religion. They do not necessarily believe in God as an omnipotent higher being or a creator. They do believe in a divine energy force and a supreme being. Second, they believe that Jerusalem is the center of this divine energy force, and that everyone and everything should revolve around Jerusalem. Third, they believe that the power of the Shekinah is the energy force that drives this ultimate authority that Jerusalem should have over the world. The term New World Order is associated with their belief that everyone and everything should be united under the light of the Shekinah. So far, I have given a brief history of Freemasons and their beliefs. I will continue my discussion of Freemasonry and its influence on the world through ancient wars, the Catholic Church, and American government. The Crusades were a series of religious wars between Muslims and the Catholic Church that lasted for over 200 years. An article in the Jewish World Journal describes the destruction of Solomon's temple between the years 700 and 720 BC by the king of Babylon. Beneath the temple were hidden treasures that only the Masons knew of. The Masons used the authority of the Catholic Church and the Crusades as a diversion to get back into Jerusalem and to reclaim the hidden treasures. Since the time of the Roman Empire, Catholicism has dictated politics, religious beliefs, economy, and social structure. The Catholic Church and the Pope have been and still are very influential in politics and the world's economy. Freemasons were able to elect one of their own members to become Pope, Pope Hieronymus II, in around the year 1100, through a series of mysterious deaths and strategic planning. The Church's doctrine has eventually was watered down from something spiritual to something more focus on globalism and humanism. Finally, Freemason has influenced American government as well. George Washington, Ben Franklin, Paul Revere, and John Hancock were just a few of our founding fathers that were Freemasons. During the growth and the development of the United States, there was a common goal of separating America from Great Britain. Not only were they pursuing religious freedoms, they were also building an entirely new social, political, and government system. Masons significantly influenced the design and development of the Supreme Court. Although many Masons do not believe in a supreme being, they do, however, have more progressive views, such as not supporting slavery, supporting women's rights, and having more of an open religious view. As the Umaga Institute stated, at least 9 of the 56 men that signed the Declaration of Independence were Masons, and that 39 of the that signed the U.S. Constitution were also Masons. In conclusion, I have condensed thousands of years of history into a few minutes. I hope that you have learned something new about the Freemasons and their history, beliefs, and influences on the world. So the next time you watch National Treasures, remember, the Masons' treasures might be hidden right beneath you.
So is it like an organization that is very put together? Can you join it?
You can. If you go 2 streets north, you can join the Masonic Temple.
Are they still relevant, or?
Yes. They have around, according to the Freemasons of California, there's around 2 million in America and then 5 million worldwide, with about 6,000 churches in total. Any other questions?